Greetings. This is General CJG here, coming to you with, well, we're finally continuing Tales of the Jedi after a while of certain other priorities that we had to do, including a certain KOTOR remake. We already did a video on that, so I'll just leave the plug in here so you guys can watch it. So there's that. And now we're continuing with Tales of the Jedi Dark Lords of the Sith. Now, this is where it's going to get interesting. So, joining me here, I have...
Greetings, mortals. It's the Shadow King, King Nazru. I have returned once again to cover the Tales of the Jedi. Be sure to pay attention and enjoy this content. Otherwise, I'll come by and destroy this planet.
Okay. Next.
And this is the Spider-Man Mania.
And finally...
Your friendly neighborhood Mandalorian, Jango Fett.
Yes, indeed. So, with that out of the way, let's get on with Dark Lords of the Sith. So, issue 1. So, shall you take it away, Doan?
Yeah, the story begins with Nagasado in some kind of war, but it isn't actually the main plot because it's actually a holocron watched by Exar Kun. Finally, he appears. And Exar Kun gets visited by his master, Bodo, and Bodo doesn't want him to see it because such information are dangerous for a Jedi still learning. We go to a different location and we see the Keto cousins killing their political opponents and just going around killing whoever they don't really like using their Sith sorcery. And then what we see is Uli Keldroma and his Jedi friends being visited by the spirit of Frida Nod, warning them about something great happening, whatever. And we see Exar Kun training, and he fights against his master, and he defeats him. And the master basically says, "I'm worried about you, Exar Kun," blah blah blah. And then Exar Kun says, I know myself, master, so don't worry about me. And that's how story ends.
Well...
Yeah, it's quite a simple story. Not really much going on.
There's that. So, well, what do you guys think of this first issue?
I mean, it does a pretty good job of establishing Exar Kun's character. I mean, he's pretty powerful, but at the same time, it makes him pretty arrogant. I mean, he thinks that he can handle dark side knowledge, and whenever his master tells him, "Hey, you shouldn't be messing with this. This should be left to like masters." Jedi before you had thought they could handle the dark side knowledge, but they couldn't. They turned to the dark side. And then Exar Kun just pretty much goes, "Okay, boomer, I'm not going to listen to you."
That's one way to put it.
And we also established that he's pretty aggressive in a fight. I mean, even his fellow Jedi Knights and Padawans don't really like him because he's way too aggressive in his combat. And they also kind of feel that he's not a Jedi. Even like the female Cathar that dueled him, she pretty much scratched his face after their fight, and she pretty much says that your master may not see the truth, but I do. You are no Jedi. And he pretty much takes offense to that. So it's really nice to see that good stories can really quickly and very well establish a character that's a villain, which is a real shame that we can't see this in modern Star Wars terms. Kylo Ren.
There's that. The Django, thoughts on this?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good start, and it starts off with a bang with Negasadao story. And this is kind of the first appearance of him ever. And while his later appearances would be much different, I think in this they were just kind of like just putting something out there. So this is not like the final creation. So this was just kind of like just put out his appearance for Nagasadao.
Yeah, because in here
yeah.
he looks human, whereas in the others he actually looks more like the Sith alien species.
Yeah, so they would do that more properly in the later stories. We'll touch base upon that much later.
Yeah, we can easily retcon as just the holocron just falsely putting the image of Nagasadao as a human, so it can easily be explained. So in your
and I must say that Krath are pretty vicious in what they do, not only involving their other family members and just cruelly just killing them in horrific ways and other people. they just abuse their power, and later on they'll do much worse.
Oh yes, indeed. Yep.
And
Indeed.
I must say that Exar Kun, regarding Exar Kun, I think this is the only Star Wars character that I know that could pull off an epic ponytail. So regarding that, I mean, like, it was just amazing.
And I think it's interesting that Exar Kun uses 2 lightsabers.
Yeah.
And basically, defeats his master. Later, the 2 lightsabers. It's going to be interesting. 2 lightsabers.
Oh yeah, we'll see more of him.
Yeah, I mean, like, he first started off with 1 lightsaber, and then later on, just for that fight, he experiments, or, well, I guess his other friend helps him, and then he starts to use that second lightsaber.
Yeah, it's going to be 1 lightsaber again, but not the way you think it is.
I mean, I can kind of see why now, like, a lot of Star Wars versus YouTubers like to say that Exar Kun is the best saber duelist in all of Star Wars.
Yeah, you could definitely see hints of that, and then, you definitely see him, like, going down the dark side, like, his path towards that, because you have Silvar just claw his face, and he gives in to anger, and so that kind of sets in motion his character of giving in to anger and the dark side, and him experimenting more with that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And one thing to mention, these lightsabers still looks weird.
That's true. So there is.
Very unique, though, I must say. I love the, like, hilt designs.
I mean, these artworks aren't really all that detailed. I mean, especially like when you compare it to modern comics, when they go into extra details of like ships and lightsabers and other weapons. So you gotta give them some leeway on that.
We'll discuss more the art style when we finish all 6 issues. So
Oh, fun fact. According to Red Letter Media's Hap in the Bag, they think this is the worst Star Wars comic issue or something.
wait,
I don't
what?
remember.
They've actually read this.
What?
I don't know.
I don't think they read it. They mentioned it in one of their reviews. I don't remember it.
Uh,
Well, it
Then
doesn't-
again, Red Letter Media was never a group with intelligent people, so.
it doesn't matter. They're a bunch of idiots anyway.
yeah. Anyway, so anything else to mention on this issue? I'll take that as a no. Okay, so now we go to issue 2. So, King, take it away.
Right? I'm gonna be really quick with this one. So we cut to Kate Keldroma along with the Twi'leks.
Tot Donita.
Right. They are met by Exar Kun, who presents himself as a Jedi archaeologist, and he's looking for artifacts. And they were checking to see if this is actually legit or not. But Master Arca comes by, and he pretty much just says, "Yeah, I know Jedi archaeologist. You're fake news. You are no Jedi archaeologist." And he says, "You're also. I can also sense the dark side in you. You're not welcome here." But then Exar Kun pretty much goes, "Screw the rules. I'm a Jedi Knight. I can go wherever I want." And Master Arca pretty much has no rebuttal to that because he's technically right. So he pretty much goes off. And while he's continuing to explore the city, there's the people of Onderon are harassing people who are following Freedom Mad, and Exar Kun intervenes and says that you can't harass someone just for their beliefs. And they pretty much say these people have caused you can't harass people for their beliefs. And the people of Onderon said, these people have caused great harm to all our people. Then Exar Kun pretty much just says that was their masters, and you can't judge them for that. Each person is their own, and the followers of Freedom Nad thank him for his intervention. Exar Kun says that if you want to thank me, you take me to like any artifacts of Freedom Nad, and they decide to, we're going to take you to one of his tombs, and we could actually use him to get one of the artifacts. And they go to him there, and they try to enter it, but it's protected by, I believe, Mandalorian iron.
It is Mandalorian iron, yes. That's how
Yeah.
it's described in the comic.
Yeah, and Exar Kun is having a hard time cutting through it, but through like the dark side, and his own anger, he's able to cut through it, which is really interesting because Mandalorian iron is supposed to be. A lot of people keep saying that Mandalorian iron can't be cut by lightsabers. So apparently that's not true. I guess these Jedi haven't been trying hard enough.
Well, he did adjust his lightsaber to the highest intensity, plus a combination of his own dark side power. That too.
Yeah, but yeah, he managed to get to the artifacts, but the Frida Nad followers want the artifact, but he's not willing to share it, and he ends up killing them. And Frida Nad says, if you want more artifacts and more powers, you need to go to Korriban for all this knowledge. And that was basically the overall summary of what happened in issue 2.
Mm-hmm. With also simultaneously having a battle in the Empress Theta system. That too.
but most of it was like focused on Exar Kun.
That too, yeah. Mm-hmm. So there is that. So yeah, well, that's issue 2, guys. So what do you think of this one?
I found the part where Exar Kun's like, I'm a Jedi and I could go anywhere I want part to be interesting because no organization seems to care about how much authority a Jedi has at this point.
Yeah, there's that.
Like, if you see the prequels or later in the other old Republic stories, the Jedi are restricted by the Republic. They can't just go around everywhere in the galaxy and do whatever the hell they want because, well, the Republic doesn't allow them to do. But in this comic, Exar Kun's like saying like, hey, you're not my boss, I can do whatever I want. And Arca's like, yeah, you do have a point, but still.
Oh, God.
I also really like that Exar Kun was willing to stand up for the Frida Nad followers. I mean, he may have had some ulterior motives, but it really does show that he has some layers, that he does believe that people have the freedom of belief in religion or like political beliefs, and people should not be held accountable for the actions of others. That really adds nuance and layers to his character.
Mm-hmm.
In the part where Exar Kun regrets killing the Nades, it's like, he's not fully evil yet. I guess there is something more to him just than being evil.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well, at this point.
Yeah, indeed. We also gotta briefly mention that the space battle that was going on in the Empress Theta system was also kind of yours, especially because Alima Keto was pretty much using all of her sorceries and illusions and all sorts of stuff to pretty much mess with the mindsets of their enemies, in particular the battleship that was carrying Uli Kaldrom and Nomi Sunrider.
Yeah, and Alima was kind of like the equivalent of the dark side equivalent of a Jedi who does battle meditation. So she was doing that for her side and confusing the other side with her illusions. Really played a part in their victory.
Major thing I noticed. Nomi doesn't look ugly as hell in these comics. That's a bonus.
Yeah, indeed.
I don't know. I've seen like a few spotty panels. I think like issue 4 or 5.
Oh, yeah, I'm seeing it too.
Oh, we'll get into the art though a bit later on. But overall, yeah, like the space battle was intense, and we're definitely seeing how Exar Kun's curiosity into learning more about the dark side is, well, it's making him get closer and closer to his destiny as, well, you guys know what. So, yep. So, anything else to mention on this issue, guys?
No, I think we pretty much covered everything.
Okay. Well, now we go to issue 3. Now, this is where things are going to get a bit more interesting. So, Django, shall you take the honors?
Okay. So the Jedi assemble at this one planet, because of the attacks by the Krath, and they pretty much reconquered the Teton homeworld and retaliated against the Jedi. So they all gathered at one place, and they were trying to come up with a plan to counter the Krath. And while this is going on, Exar Kun travels to Korriban and just to uncover the secrets of the Sith, pretty much. And yeah, Ulik is back at the other place with the Jedi. They're talking, and they're just saying that we have to attack back. We have to fight back against them. And Ulik actually brings up a plan where he must infiltrate the Krath from within and just destroy their organization and, learn their secrets if like pretend you're like this Darksider. But it comes at a cost. So all the Jedi are like, yeah, this doesn't no, we don't want this to happen. But he really wants to go through that plan. And while this is happening, Exar Kun actually gets almost killed in this with this tomb he's in, and almost freaking dies from that as it collapses on him. And he actually ends up embracing the dark side because he's pretty much just last inches of his life. As Frieden Nad is like just kind of like just embrace the dark side, must surrender to it, and he ends up just saying, "Yes, I surrender myself." And Vodo, his master, is just like, "No, just don't do it." But Frieden Nad is just like easily, it's like, "Don't listen to him. Just listen to me. I'll help you out in this moment." And when he embraces the dark side, it's like Ulig describes it as it sounds like a man being eaten alive because he gets like this burn mark on his forehead, which is a sign of becoming like a special type of Sith. I'll just say that.
He was getting his wounds healed through some sort of dark side of the Force.
Yeah. And so he's fully healed from that point on, too. Yep. And then back on with the Jedi, they actually end up getting attacked, surprise attack, by the Krath, but they're using their war droids, and the Jedi have to fight back against them. And in the process of all this happening, Arca gets killed in the process, helping his Ulik, but he ends up getting killed in the process. And he just says, "I know the light," and his body fades away. So you have like this really great panel in the end where it's just like, well, but right before the end, where you have Ulik, holding his robes of his master, and then you have Exar Kun just, embracing the dark side. So this become important later on, but it just shows that duality between those two characters. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Mm-hmm. And then we have Exar Kun, and he must, after he gets the dark side, his rejuvenated body, and he must fight off against the defenders of that temple in those tombs. So he embraces the dark side fully and fights off against the Sith Guardians. And lastly, we go back to just a devastated and just destroyed Ula Keldromo, and he's just devastated after that loss. So, and then it just ends with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. So, what do you guys think of this one?
The part right before the ending, where Ulik is saying like, "If I had been a true Jedi or something," he says like he could have saved Arca. It's kind of similar to what Anakin's going through in Attack of the Clones.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's kind of similar. Like they want to be more powerful. If they could have more power, they could have saved the people they cared about in their lives, which eventually caused them to fall to the dark side. Let's not kid ourselves. At this point, it's pretty common knowledge that Ulik Roma fell to the dark side. So let's not do spoiler warnings. Blah blah blah.
Well, we're gonna get into it in this video, so it's just inevitable. But yeah, this does pretty much start his determination of trying to get inside the craft, in trying to learn the secrets of the dark side, which we have seen it with others before. That doesn't really work that much.
Yeah, was George Lucas inspired by this when he was writing the prequels? Something seems very similar.
Maybe it's possible. I mean, it has been confirmed by Tom Beich that George Lucas worked with him in order to write this story. So maybe, who knows?
Wait, Tom Beich, isn't this Kevin J. Anderson?
Well, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, Kevin J. Anderson also was doing Tales of the Jedi, particular the ones that had Exar Kun.
Ah.
So there is that. It's basically Tom Beich, Kevin J. Anderson here writing. So there's that. Not to mention also at one point, Zero Sonic confirmed that George Lucas does read the comics. So yeah. But anyway, that's another topic. So
One major thing I want to talk about is Korriban seems like an interesting place visual-wise, but the artist drawing isn't competent enough to actually draw out the place looks like.
well,
I liked kind of like the first visual of Korriban with like the different different statues and stuff. But like you do see like there's like no bottom to it, and it just like it looks like they're just both like connecting sides. So there's not really like any opening whatsoever, compared to like the Knights of the Republic video games and stuff like that. But I mean, I do like what they're trying to do with Korriban.
I think the
I mean,
first
I
shot
get
of
the
Korriban.
idea. I'm not expecting Knights of the Old Republic 3D full pure Korriban, but seriously, man, just put some more effort in the artwork other than just rocks, and occasional statues and Jedi spirits. Like, what is this?
We'll get better visuals of Korriban in the next story arcs. But yeah, I have to agree with the Django. I do think the best visual of Korriban is definitely the first one we get in this issue when Exar Kun pretty much arrives on Korriban. Yeah, that's the best one. Everything else, it is a big difficult to distinguish Korriban, particularly when Exar Kun is like roaming around on the planet, besides killing the Guardians and stuff. So yeah.
I do think it's pretty cool that like the Darksiders are able to get the souls of the Jedi and just entomb them in like this little big giant crystal thing. And you do see that happen in another story we'll touch base upon. But I just find that just so crazy to me that you can just trap souls like that, and just like, can you imagine the soul just being like that?
Reminds me of the Thought Bomb.
Yeah.
If anyone,
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. Yeah.
Yeah, I can definitely see the resemblance.
Yeah, indeed. So there's that. There is one thing I gotta ask in regards to this issue. So does the dark side like actually like heal you, or what exactly happened to Exar Kun? Because it's described like he
think-
was
I
reborn.
mean, what the Force is, it's kind of dubious on the dark side about healing. I mean, one thing it can do is like drain other beings or organic stuff around you, and that can revitalize you. But it's not like the best for like healing, like the light side is, or like others will say that it doesn't heal you at all, but you use your anger to just continue feeling you. And you'll just have to be more reliant on like traditional medicine to heal you. The EU is kind of fickle with how the dark side is with healing.
it's kind of similar to Darth Vader. Basically, the way how Darth Vader managed to stay alive all these years was not purely due to his cybernetics. The other part was like his hate towards himself. The dark side somehow maintained him, kept him alive or something. And then when Luke redeemed him, he couldn't stay alive anymore, like because the light side is kind of complicated stuff. They don't really explain these things much.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then also with like through pain, they heal themselves, learn to like heal themselves through that. And like you have mentions of like Darth Bane just killing innocent people, and I think he crash landed his ship, and then he was like just using the Force to just mass kill these civilians in a way so that he could heal. And the people are just like, oh no, don't do this, don't do this. But he was feeding through that just by his gruesome acts.
He
Or
was.
it could be something like the dark side is like the easy, quick way. So he uses new quick powers to do something. If he was relying on the light side, it would have taken more time and more pain.
Which obviously Exar Kun had no time for that because he was close to death.
Yeah.
So there's that indeed. So I guess whatever force healing Frieder Nat did to Exar Kun was through his own pain, I guess that would be the way to explain it. Because otherwise, I don't know what type of force healing he did. So there is that. Anyway, so anything else you guys want to mention on this issue?
Yeah. So concerning Archaeology, for as powerful of a master he still died. I mean, it was just crazy odds against them with the Krat. But at least in the end, he did die a Jedi way, in the Jedi way, and vanished. His spirit vanished and stuff. So there is that.
Yeah, indeed.
I mean, I also like how the Sith kept putting Exar Kun through a lot of trials just to prove that he was worthy. I mean, say what you want about the Sith, but we gotta respect that they are in fact a meritocracy. They don't just hang in these things; you gotta earn it. Which the real world can really learn from that kind of principle. Not the whole fascist genocidal thing, but being a meritocracy.
Well, then again, any like group or organization or anything will put trials no matter what to see if the one they want to choose, their successor they want to choose, will actually be the true successor or not.
And for once, there's more than one Sith spirit. Frida, Nada, and Nagasato seems to be communicating with each other, which I found that intriguing because we haven't seen them together in scenes. They just appear randomly in different comics.
Yeah.
Wait, did Nagasato appear before?
As a spirit, no. He probably was just a disembodied voice, speaking to Freya Nat when Exar Kun was in Korriban, testing himself against the Tukata. So there is that. Anyway, so guys, let's move on to issue 4. So, Django, take it away.
Okay. So we have Exar Kun traveling and going to Yavin 4. Yes, that Yavin 4.
Mm-hmm.
And to that temple where Nagasadaw's, home base at the time. And for some reason, Exar Kun is wearing this atrocious green jumpsuit. And he is attacked by the Masasi. Ancient versions of them. Mutated versions, I should say. And they pretty much just beat up Exar Kun, no problem. And there is actually one variant that is kind of different. We can talk about that a little bit later. But they take him after he's knocked unconscious to the temple. And at the temple, he is kind of bound and forced into this trial where him and a bunch of others are kind of sacrificed to this beast. And he eventually finds a way to use this amulet, not one of Nagasada's amulet, and destroys the whole beast in this epic fashion. And we also have on Osus, whatever you want to call it, we have Odin Her talking to the other Jedi, and he tells them that, if you go down this path, Ulik, there's plenty of mentions where you go down the dark side and you try to use it for good. Well, it's not going to turn out that way. Everybody's telling him, including Nomi Sunrider. But he decides to just go through it, and they just, Nomi and him, they kiss, and then they have to say goodbye, and he still wants to go through it because, he's kind of out for revenge, and he's just, it's kind of leading him to this dark path. And he eventually goes to the planet and tries to save Alima in the process, which is un-Jedi-like. But he wants to save him because he wants to infiltrate the craft. And he just pretends to be this dark Jedi. So, we ended with him, and then we actually end with Exar Kun actually ending up to destroy the spirit of Frida Nab because he wants the power to become alive again. And he tells Exar Kun, hey, come on, make me alive again. And he pretty much Exar Kun just decides to destroy him right then and there. And Frida Nat actually gives a warning to the craft, Alima and Sato, and tells them that, hey, this guy is a pretender. You guys are the real Sith. You should go out and destroy him. Or when you run into him, destroy him. And from there, that's it.
Yeah. So, what do you guys think of this one?
Well, I'm genuinely surprised that we got an official confirmation that you can actually destroy Force ghosts.
Yes.
I like the part where Exar Kun is like, saying to the part where, the spirit of Nod is like, yeah! And Exar Kun is like, I don't care what you say. Old man, get the hell out. Exar Kun is basically tired of Brita Nod's BS and like, my path is mine alone.
I mean, it's funny how pretty much every master or more experienced Force user tries to give him an order or tell him advice, his immediate response is pretty much, "Okay, boomer."
Yeah, I mean, it's the kind of thing about these masters. Like, they should be aware that they have once betrayed their own masters. They should be aware that their apprentice or their followers will betray them in the future. Like, why didn't you predict this?
I mean, that's really shows how kind of dumb Frida Nat was being. I mean, because as an experienced dark side user, he should have seen this coming. He should have tried to be a bit more subtle in getting what he wants by trying to make it seem you need to go to this planet. There's going to be a great power, and then Frida Nat can carry out his plan in a more subtle way.
Yeah, but I guess we're not got impatient in seeing XR Kun in action. So there is that. Oh, speaking of Frida Nat, I find it interesting how, XR Kun, he's no pretender. No, the real Sith are you two, Lima and Seito Keto. Except that those two are just sorcerers, whereas XR Kun is, well, on the path of truly becoming a Sith Lord.
I think they hardly even count as Dark Jedi.
They are not Jedi, they're just sorcerers. So they are force sensitive, but they're not really legitimately Jedi or even Sith or Dark Jedi. So XR Kun is the real deal.
And there's this interesting panel where it says when she sees Oleg again, Nomi was she doesn't know that Oleg will change beyond all recognition. These comics were not even trying to be subtle about it. We're just turning to the dark side.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yep. Anything else to mention on this issue?
Oh, there's the temple.
Oh, yeah, that too, the Masashi Temple. Yep. So,
I mean, are the players able to get inside to these temples in Battlefront 2? 2005?
You can, except that the layout of the temple is vastly different compared to what we see here.
Did they change it and turn it into a base, or
Yes,
it's just video game doing video game shit?
No, they did. They did, because you remember in episode 4 already was a rebel base. So yeah, so that's why. Yeah, you're not gonna see the original Yavin 4 Masashi Temple in any sort of Star Wars media that's set in the original trilogy or the New Republic era or even the prequel trilogy. Not even that.
I mean, the closest thing we got to actually a Yavin 4 in the Old Republic was the first KOTOR game, but it was a weird DLC where you can get out the space station.
Yavin 4 also returns in Shadow of Revan in the SWTOR expansion.
Are you able to see these things in that game?
Yeah, you see a lot of temples in the Shadow of Revan.
How do they compare to what we see in episode 4 as well as the other post prequels eras? How do they compare King in SWTOR?
They just seem like ancient ruins with a lot of force spirits. Some of them have been a bit destroyed and are ran about with the Masashi and other ancient wildlife, but that's pretty much it, really.
I see. Well, there's that. Anything else to mention?
Yeah, I mean, there's this one Masashi that I have to mention that is completely different from the rest. I don't know if you guys remember, but there's a purple one because they were all known for being red, but this one was weirdly purple color, and it was just ginormous.
Oh yeah, yeah. I see him. I wonder what he is.
But yeah, that was just a minor thing.
Yes. Okay. Well, now we go to issue 5. So, okay, now it's my turn for narrating on this one. So, well, the Kato cousins, Halim and Seito, are discussing what to do with Oleg Kaldroma. We even see him being tortured. And Seito even injects a Sith poison in him, which knocks him out. And Alima decides to take Oleg into her chambers. So there's that. Meanwhile, XR Kun is already building temples on Yavin 4. Yep. And also he's sporting much better clothes this time, the Django. No more the jumpsuit. So that's a plus. So there is that. And he's searching inside the Masashi temples to find some more power or anything. And he finds the ship that brought Nagasadao into Yavin 4. So, yep. And with that, he decides to explore other parts. Meanwhile, Nomi, Kei, and Todd decide to try to talk to Oleg Keldroma. And in the process, Nomi, well, decides to purposefully get captured to find Oleg. And, well, they bring her forward to where Oleg is right now with Saito. And, well, Oleg definitely not pleased seeing that Nomi is here. He has to decide whether to compromise his identity and pretty much save Nomi or continue with the facade in order to stay undercover, and he decides to stay undercover. So there's that. And then, meanwhile, well, Exarchun is testing some Sith alchemy and seems to be working all right. So there's that. And then, well, Oleg is pretty much. He secretly sends a message to Nomi while also, I guess, charming Alima. You could say that. But his message gets intercepted by Saito, and, well, Saito gets pissed and wants to kill Oleg. So there's that. Meanwhile, Nomi, she was in the process of getting killed, but she used her battle meditation to pretty much escape, contact Kei and Todd, and, well, she flees. Meanwhile, Sato's assassins try to kill Oleg, but Oleg manages to defend himself, and, well, he faces in battle against Saito Keto, who he's using he's probably using some sort of pyroblade, using either a cortosis material or Mandalorian iron. One of those, it has to be. So there's that. They face off in battle, and Oleg, well, he gave into his anger, and he killed Saito. And his anger was starting to get out of control because he pushed away Kei and Todd, and they were forced to flee, and they flee the planet, and Oleg is just there pretty much like, what have I done? Now I'm on a path with no return. And meanwhile, well, Exarchun, he pretty much finds out that apparently there's other students of Freedom Nat, and he has to destroy them. So, yep, that was issue 5. So, what do you guys think of this one?
I found it interesting that there is a poison that the Sith have that can actually make a Force user who would use the dark side or, strike down someone through the dark side, make them go down this path, force them down this route. So I don't think I've seen that ever later on, but I thought that was an interesting concept, to say the least.
Mm-hmm. There's that, yeah.
Uli Chi-san Nomi, that's something.
There's that, yeah.
Do you think she influences him, or he just kind of does it willingly?
He just does it.
There's that, yeah.
Yeah, little column A, little column B.
Yeah, Uli gets the harem master. What the?
Oh God. That'd be something. Except that now he's the dark side version of it. Well, I don't know if we go that far because now he's just trying. He's just starting to push everyone away at this point. So there's that. And what do you guys think of Exarchun now starting to not only make experiments with the Masashi, but also trying to pretty much uncover more secrets of the Sith, and also wanting to kill Saito and Alima and Oleg?
I mean, it's like most of them. The Sith does not want anyone, even in their own organization, to challenge them in power. So, Exarchun is not different like other Sith, according to what I see.
Yeah. It's like Master Shakti said in Force Unleashed, the Sith always betray one another.
Yeah, it's in their nature.
Yeah, and then, the Masashi are already mutated, and then you have further mutations upon that to make them even better. Like, I feel bad for the Masashi at this point.
Yeah, they must have suffered a lot. So, there is that. What do you guys think in regards to Ulic Kaldroma finally like killing not only Arkadyev's killer, but also facing him in a one-on-one duel. Because I find it interesting, other than the fact that Sato was using, some sort of Mandalorian iron sort of weapon or whatever. But also, like, Ulic, like, he finally gets the revenge he wanted, but that doesn't seem to be enough for him. So it's what the Sith holocron that the Jedi Master Gnosis pretty much showed, that, yeah, like, you try to conquer the dark side by learning from it, but you don't really conquer the dark side, it conquers you.
Yeah.
It's similar, like, yeah, it's repeated in the later chronologically future stories, such as Hunan Boss. He tries to do the same thing by conquering the dark side, try to pretend. He fails. Even Luke Skywalker tries to do that. He fails, but later turns back. Yeah, it seems like a pattern that these people constantly try to infiltrate the Sith organization, pretend to be the dark side, but they all fail. Like, is there a pattern going on, or are they just idiots?
It's probably just it's a bit of arrogance in them. Like, they think they can actually conquer the dark side, but until they actually try, they don't know any better. So there is that. Indeed. Anything else to mention on this issue, guys?
No.
Okay. Well, now we go into issue 6. Okay, now this is the final one. So we see Kay and Dace pretty much, testing some fighters. Apparently, Dace's fighter crashes because the joystick was faulty, but they survived. So no problems there. Then they're discussing what to do in regards to their plan to pretty much, attack the craft and save Ulic Kaldroma. And before they do that, Kay and Nomi are discussing with the Jedi Masters if the plan is a good idea. Well, they approve of it, but they say that if Ulic has chosen the dark side, then you should pretty much just let him be. He made his choice. He will ultimately destroy himself. That's what they're saying. So, meanwhile, back in Sinagar, Ulic is resting with Alima, though he seems to be sweating. I guess the Sith poison is starting to take effect. Nexar Kun with Tumasasi is pretty much searching for Alima and Ulic in order to kill them. But right as he's almost finding them, apparently the Jedi, they attack. And they're attacking with an airstrike with their ships. And, then they pretty much send a war beast with Kay and Nomi riding on them. And, they're pretty much trying to convince Ulic to pretty much, turn away. We came here for you. Just come with us. But Ulic is, not really, actually... let's just say that... I guess his anger and the Sith poison has really taken a hold of him, because he's strongly refusing to go with them, and he's literally urging them to get away from him. I don't need you, go. And he even goes as far as using a Sith amulet to get him away from him. And they restrain him, and they're all about to take him, but Nomi's no, don't. Let's not force him. He made his choice, so he's staying. The other Jedi accepted. Kay's the only one that really doesn't want to accept it, but he's forced to do so. So they ultimately leave, and Ulic, he remains with Alima, and it seems to state, they even share a kiss, but it's interrupted because Exar Kun showed up, and he attacks Alima and attacks Ulic, and they have a lightsaber duel. And while they're having the lightsaber duel, apparently both amulets, Exar Kun's and Ulic's, they're reacting to their battle. And right as the amulets have pretty much, reached full power, one of the Sith Lords from ancient times, thanks to the amulet, because the Sith amulets actually awakened him, they said, "Cease. You two, you are chosen. And now, you, Exar Kun, you will be the Dark Lord of the Sith. And this man here, Ulic Kaldroma, he will be your first and foremost apprentice. Now, you two, take on your roles as the Dark Lords of the Sith and wage war against the Galactic Republic." And from there, Ulikaldrum and Exarchun, they pretty much are set on conquering the galaxy together as the newly appointed Dark Lords of the Sith. And that's where this issue ends. So, what do you guys think of this one?
Yeah, before the last panel, what is up with them with their handshake or arm wrestling or what? Doesn't that remind anyone of that scene from The Predator?
Yep, exactly.
Like,
It
what is that?
it does, but it's fine. Both of them are agreeing to pretty much, yeah, let's do this.
I would
I don't
argue
think-
that this needs to be more epic, so that their muscles need to be shown more. So
Oh my
I don't
God.
think the author intended it to be funny like that,
Well, I don't.
but it looks.
I don't find it funny. I find it a bit bad. I'm a bit of the badass. But I can see why you say it's funny. So there's that. But
Like they're grinning. Like what is wrong with their teeth?
well,
Yeah, the author, the illustrator, whoever's drawing this, has a serious problem of conveying moods when you look at it. Like people's face looks weird, or they look unintentionally funny at certain parts.
you could say that, yeah.
yeah, so the artist is Art Weatherall, and the previous artist was Chris Cassotte, who did the first 4 issues, and he was pretty good. But this one, I'm not fond of. It definitely is very. It takes me out of this whole comic for sure. This issue, but other than that, I think it's still a pretty interesting story. It's just the
Yeah,
artwork is kind of wonky.
Yeah, I didn't notice that the artwork was different. I do prefer more the artwork from the previous issues. Yeah, I will agree with that. So there is that. Maybe it's the art style. Maybe if the previous artist had actually done it, maybe it would have been better.
Yeah.
So there is that. And since we're now in the final issue, I think now would be a good time to talk about the art style as a whole in regards to this story arc. So what do you guys think of it?
I like it a lot because it's the same artist from the Beast Wars of Onderon, Chris Cassotte. And, I don't think it's... I mean, there are some faults with this artwork, but I do enjoy it a lot. And, there is a lot of things that are shown, like the space battles and the characters. I definitely think it was pretty good.
I'm curious. Crisco said the penciler, the inker letter and colorist are the same. Like, why did they change it in the final issue? Like, that's what I'm curious.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
Like, there's that. It's not bad. It's certainly better than some of the worst artwork we saw in the first story, Archaeology, the Jedi, but still. So, there is that. Yeah, but yeah, I do really like the art style from issues 1 to 5 of Chris Gossett. Like, I do think it definitely is a step up compared to the previous story arcs.
Agreed.
Yeah, like the art styles in Tales of the Jedi definitely get better the more we go on, and I'm definitely curious on how the Sith War and Redemption and Golden Age of the Sith and the other story arcs will pretty much be. I'm curious on those. So, because the art is just getting better and better the more we go. So there is that indeed. Can I mention that we see for the first time in here Marker Ragnos? Yes, that Marker Ragnos.
You mean the antagonist of Jedi Academy?
Yes, that same one.
Yeah, I forgot that was him.
It's him. It's confirmed to be him. So
I wonder who the other Sith Lords behind him are. I've always been curious about that.
yeah, I'm curious on that too. It's possible that it's some of the other ancient ones. No idea. But the one that pretty much branded Exarchun and Ulikal Droma Sith Lords, yeah, that definitely is Mark Arachnos.
I mean, it's kind of interesting if you actually watch the the history trailers. I think King knows what I'm talking about. Where like this one Jedi who basically narrates history from the Old Republic prior to the events of the MMO.
I know,
You know
what you're talking
that?
about. Yeah.
And what the historian basically tries to describe Exarchun is like he has no tie-ins with the Sith Empire. And I was like, right. When these literal Sith Lords made him the Sith Lord, but he doesn't have any relations to the Sith Empire. Right.
Well, Mark Arachnos was before Well, I mean, he was part of the Sith Empire, but this was like predate. Well, yeah, I can see that.
I think what Django's trying to say is that while he's acknowledged by like the ancient Sith spirits, like Marco Ragnos, but he wasn't affiliated with Vitia's empire in SWTOR. So I mean, the Sith of Vitia's empire were aware of Exar Kun and they respect him, but they still don't consider himself affiliated with them.
If you ask me, I think Vitiate is just an off-brand offshoot of the Sith Empire, if you ask me. Like, I hardly consider them, like, the legitimate Sith Empire. At least not in the same category as, say, the one from Marco Ragnos, Nagasadao, and all those. Because there were two Sith factions, if I'm not mistaken. One was in Korriban, the other was in Dromund Kaas, right?
How it went was that Nagasadao and
Ludo Kresh, I believe.
Yeah, Little Kresh were dueling out for supremacy of what was left of Marco Ragnos' empire, and meanwhile, Vitiate was trying to start up his own empire, and basically he's just saying, I'm basically gonna let these two idiots destroy themselves while I built my own empire on Droman Kaas.
Okay.
That's pretty much how it went.
Okay, so basically, Vitiate is just another Sith Empire. It's not really the same one. So it would be understandable why in SWTOR, Vitiate's Sith Empire is considered a different one, or why they consider the Sith Empire that we know as a different one. So it makes sense. They're two different ones. So anyway, back to Tales of the Jedi. So yeah, so Dovon, you wanted Sith Lords, and now we got pretty much Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma as now officially Dark Lords of the Sith. What do you think?
I mean, before the days of the Rule of Two, the Dark Brother of Darkness, Revenant Malak, these guys were the true ones. And if you ask me, the likes of Darth Bane or Revenant Malak seems kind of insignificant compared to these guys. Not that they were doing anything much. Like, you don't really see Revan fighting, and Darth Bane wasn't really a fighter. He was just using Orvalisk. So I think these Sith Lords are the OGs.
Yeah, you could say that. Yep. The Django, what do you think of now these two becoming the Sith?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've always said that Exar Kun is always my favorite Sith Lord by far, and this is kind of like the start of his just warpath against the Republic, and seeing them two, both are really good, if not great duelists, but they can use the Force very well. So with the combined, with the dark side, so it's just. I think it's awesome. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out with the Sith War.
Yeah, indeed. I got a question, guys. Do you think the Jedi were kind of arrogant or foolish in literally allowing Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma to do whatever the hell they wanted? Because you ask me, they probably unleashed hell.
Yep. I mean, especially not stopping. I guess you could say Exar or. I mean, you had the chance with Ulic, but...
I don't think it's so much them being arrogant. I think it's more them being bound by technicalities, which has been a common weakness of the Jedi, especially like in the prequels.
I mean, they say Exar Kun can just go whenever or wherever he wants because he's a Jedi, and I'm like, okay, why isn't there anyone restricting them?
I mean, Exar Kun is one thing, but Ulic was like... You had the chance, because everyone was disagreeing with Ulic every single opportunity when he was saying, like, hey, we should infiltrate the craft. Everybody said no. And they could have just stopped him right then and there, but they chose not to. Just like, hey, that's his choice.
And
maybe they could just jump on him and put him in a cell or something.
No,
they chose not to.
And not only they let Ulic go to the craft, but then they tried a second time bring him back to the Jedi. And what do? They're like, oh, if Ulic chose the dark side, then leave him.
We tried twice.
Like,
yeah, leave him.
That was foolish. Because now you have the two Dark Lords of the Sith. They're gonna wage war on the fucking Republic in the galaxy. The only thing you did was just cause war. Like this. Oh God, what the hell?
And it's gonna repeat once again with Revan and the Mandalorian Wars, and cycle continues.
Like No freaking wonder I believe that Luke's Jedi Order is probably the best one that we've seen. At least the one
Yeah.
that doesn't do...
The Jedi Order deserves to get destroyed with its incompetency.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so like the Jedi Order, we already saw their flaws in the prequels, but I think here, like, yeah, it just shows even more how the Jedi they really need to like some major lessons to be learned. So there is that.
And it's like they kind of like they showed like so many changes, like the different crystals and stuff that they showed. Oh, the holocrons, I should say. They showed like, hey, going down the dark side and all repeating of the dark side. It's just like it's just gonna lead badly. Constantly reference that.
Yeah, I mean they constantly reference it to Oleg, but haven't they thought maybe we should step in and actually not let the Force user become part of the dark side?
It's their choice.
Like, and Oleg will eventually destroy himself. I mean, in some way, but at what cost? We'll have to see in the next story arc for that. So we'll see in the next story arc. So yeah. Any final things to mention on this issue?
I mean, I kind of find it funny that Alima was trying to act all tough against Exar Kun by using her Sith illusions, and Exar Kun was just pretty much like, "Please, woman, please."
Yeah.
Blast her. That's it. She's
Yeah,
gone.
because that's Exar Kun. Yep. I mean, it's the one that Freonat warned Alima and Sato about, but I guess Alima forgot about that.
I wouldn't say she forgot. I'd say it's more she just underestimated how much of a threat he was.
Yep. Indeed.
And I don't actually know about, like, there's certain things like these green smoke or red smoke or laser things. Is he blasting something, or he's just using force push? Like, what is going on?
Well, they have some amulets, so it could possibly be a Sith magic or Sith blast of sort.
I said, like, these weird effects, like, when you see Oleg and Exar Kun fighting each other, there's something coming out from Oleg in this amulets, like blue stuff and red stuff coming out. Like, what is the color is trying to imply? Like, what are those things?
It's considered Sith magic, so that's the explanation. So,
Yeah.
So it's a combo of the Force with Sith magic through the amulets.
And then when they shake hands, it suddenly turns to green. Like, these colors really confusing. Like, what is going on?
I think the last one is just for visual. The last one of them shaking hands. That one, if you ask me, is just for visual representation. I don't think it's actually like them like legitimately showcasing Sith magic or anything. But the previous ones with the red, blue, and like those blasts, yeah, those are indeed Sith magic.
And let's see, in the cover, right? The issue 6. That's Oleg, right?
Yes.
He's holding a green lightsaber in the cover, but if you see the comic inside, he's still holding a blue lightsaber. There's something weird. Like, the art itself is not the only problem going on here. These comics have a serious problem trying to express things with the colors.
Yeah, and we have seen before different lightsaber colors. So yeah, we'll hope that the Sith War actually gets better with this.
In fact, wasn't this lightsaber green in other issues?
In the first Tales of the Jedi story arcs, yes.
Right.
So
I do like the outfit though. It's very reminiscent to Vader's outfit in the cover.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, that's actually gonna be the outfit he's gonna end up using in the Sith War. So be ready for that. So that's gonna be interesting. Anyway, so guys, I think now this is the perfect time to go into the EU connections, and oh boy, well, with every Tales of the Jedi story arc, we get a shit ton of EU connections. So let's start. So what do you?
I think I
guys,
gotta mention something. So when in the Jedi Academy trilogy, I believe Exar Kun wasn't called a Sith in those series, right?
He first appeared there, as far as I know, but in
So,
regards to him being considered.
According to what I read, Kevin J. Anderson claims that they didn't know whether to make Exar Kun just a Dark Jedi or a Sith, and it was George Lucas who made Exar Kun to be a Sith.
Well, there is that. Yeah, he was still a dark side force user, so either way, it worked out. But so there is that. What other U connections do you guys got?
Well, like I mentioned earlier, it's connected to the Shadow of Revan, and along with other SWTOR stuff such as Onslaught and Jedi Under Siege, with the, featuring planets like Yavin 4, the Masasi species, Osis, Onderon. Yeah, I mean, but this comes to be expected as a the people behind SWTOR are huge fans of the Tales of the Jedi storyline.
Indeed, there is that. The Django, what do you have in terms of EU connections?
Yeah, mostly from Knights of the Republic, being like the weaponry, like the craft weaponry, the swords, I think the armor as well. You are able to get that in the first game. I don't remember anything else. I mean, you do visit Coder 2's, I think, yeah, we mentioned that before. But with Exar Kun, and with Ulik, you do get the robes from Coder 1. But Exar Kun, I do think there's a couple of references. Joe Lee references Exar Kun in that war quite a bit.
Yeah, and also if you manage to get the Keldroma robes, there's actually mentions to Kate Keldroma and Exar Kun in that description.
Yeah.
So there's that too. Indeed. Any other references you guys got?
I got something.
Okay.
That's a source. It's kind of confusing whether to classify this thing as a EU source or not. There's a book called Dressing a Galaxy, the costume of Star Wars. And in the book, it basically first identifies a random extra or a cameo in the character as the name Kato for some reason. Now, it is the same family, basically, which Alima and Sato. So that's a connection, if you can't say that. It's the same family. They're from the same family tree, so that's something.
Yeah, it would be something. You'd be surprised, but the Keto family has appeared all the way until episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, which is something. Because, yeah, the Keto family was first mentioned in Dark Lords of the Sith, and in the other story of Jedi, obviously. But in episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, that's like, yep, that's the next member. Which is...
And there were even some of them, even during the Rebellion era.
Yeah, the Galactic Civil War era.
Yeah.
So...
And there's this ambiguous source, whether it is Legends or not. What was it? I forgot what was the source's name.
Which one?
The Nexus of Power there's a book called Nexus of Power.
Oh, yes.
Which was made by Fantasy Flight. The reason why this book is confusing is because there are some information that is exclusive to EU, and it has something from Disney Star Wars, so the information is kind of vague.
It's a big one, yeah. It's kind of similar to it's basically part of the Force and Destiny, the Force and Destiny role-playing game. So there is that. It's kind of in the same vein as the one that had the retcon for the TCW in the EU. So I guess there is that. Though that one is considered EU, so there's that. Okay. So in my case, in regards to the EU connections I found, well, there's the obvious one, Exar Kun, like obviously the Jedi Academy trilogy, like he first appeared there, and well, Kevin J. Anderson and Tom Leitch pretty much worked together with Tales of the Jedi, so it's no surprise that Exar Kun is fully in Dark Lords of the Sith. So we're pretty much seeing the events that were pretty much mentioned in Dark Apprentice and Champions of the Force. So there's that, and not to mention Exar Kun has pretty much been mentioned in, of course, SWTOR, and as was even the Darth Vader trilogy, Path of Destruction, Rule of Two, and Darth Plagueis, of course, Episode 1 Journal, Darth Maul, though indirectly, and there's, like, Exar Kun has been mentioned in many sources, all the way even until the New Jedi Order and Fear of the Jedi. So there's that. Korriban, guys, don't forget Korriban, first mentioned in Dark Lords of Sith first issue and first appeared in the second one. That's a big one.
You mean Morabad?
Oh God, yeah, Korriban, guys, the homeworld of the Sith. This was the first ever not only mention but also appearance. It's a huge one.
I think Dark Empire does count also because the
Fine.
Bath Bodo Bass's ancestor is, Bodo Sia's Bass, right? So does that count as a reference?
They're not the same, but they're part of the same family, so not entirely. But there is other reference to Dark Empire in Dark Lords of Sith, actually. So
I mean, isn't it kind of weird that we have a comic came out in a similar time? Both Luke Skywalker and Uli Keldroma tried to infiltrate the Sith organization and
well,
fail.
well, you could say that, but Dark Lords of Sith was 3 years after Dark Empire, so so not necessarily.
Not
the same
entirely.
time. Yeah, not
Because no. The first issue of Dark Empire came out in 1991 December.
entirely. I see.
So the stories where Luke turns to the dark side is mostly 1992.
Well, 2 years. So there is that. Exar Kun, he pretty much mentioned everything. Korriban, like there's so many sources that reference Korriban. Obviously SWTOR, the Darth Vader trilogy, Darth Plagueis, several more. Like there's plenty. What else? Naga Sadao. Oh yeah, so he was first mentioned in Tales of the Jedi issue 2, but here's like where he actually first appears. He looks humanish, but as we mentioned before, that was actually retcon later on with later sources like Golden Age of the Sith. So there is that. The Adigan eel, the one that came out of the the mouth of the person that Lima pretty much mind tricked. That actually was mentioned in SWTOR and the Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia. Oh boy, that's a hell of a reference. So there is that. Then the Academy of Jedi Archaeology. That is just mentioned in Geonosis and the Outer Rim worlds and the Jedi Path, a manual for students of the Force. So there's that indeed. Bodo C.S. Bass, well, we know he appears in the Jedi Academy trilogy, as well as several other sources like SWTOR in the Codex entry, and so on and so forth. And then, well, the Tukata. This is actually the first appearance of them. And in a previous video we made a State of Star Wars, we pretty much confirmed that they actually appeared in one of the Darth Vader comics. It was the Final Purge comic. Different species, but it was still the same. So that's an interesting one. The Tukata appear in Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, SWTOR, Darth Vader Path Destruction, Jedi Quest Final Showdown, Republic 63, Invasion 2, Fate of the Jedi Ascension, and even Legacy comics. So there's that. The Wall of Light, that Wall of Light that was described by the Jedi, I think it was in issue 3. Yeah, issue 3. That is first mentioned here, but we actually get the appearance in the next story arc we'll see in Tales of the Jedi. But it's actually been mentioned in SWTOR, in particular Shadow of Revan, and even indirect mentions in the Jedi Academy trilogy. So there's that, and several encyclopedias as well, like the Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia, Jedi Academy Training Manual, Jedi Perceived Essential Guide to the Force, so on and so forth. Now, here's this force power called Ionize. It actually first appeared in Dark Empire. If you guys remember, it's the force power that Luke used to pretty much destroy the droids in the first issue, remember? When he extended his hand and pretty much used something that looked like Force Lightning, but it wasn't Force Lightning. Like, that power is featured here in Dark Lords of the Sith issue 3, the one that Arca Jeff used. So actually, Dark Empire was the first time that we saw it, so there's one connection there. And, well, the new Essential Guide to Droids actually was the one that identified it as Mechu Macture, weird name, and the KOTOR campaign guide is actually the one that identified it as Ionize. So we can thank KOTOR for expanding on that one. Oda Noor, the Jedi that had the Sith holocron in his hand, the purple one, he actually has been referenced in SWTOR and even Cross Current, actually. So there's that. And also in the Old Republic Deceived, the book. So there is that. And then the Sith Worm, the big humongous monster that pretty much tried to eat Exar Kun alive in Massassi. That appears in timeline number 10, the Exar Kun War, in a hologram. It's basically one of the in-universe videos that provided backstory to the SWTOR video game. So there's that, as well as the Dark Side source book, KOTOR campaign guide, so on and so forth. The Massassi. Okay, here's an interesting one. The Massassi did not first appear or were not first mentioned in this. in Tales of the Jedi, nor even Episode 4 A New Hope, unless you count the junior novel, but that was released 2004. Nope, they actually first appeared in the Marvel Comics. Yes, the old Marvel Comics from 1977. Oh, yes. The old Marvel Comics, issues 25 to 27, the Masashi were first mentioned there. And then the Night Beast, the comic strip written by Archie Goodwin, like that had a creature that didn't look like Masashi, but it was later retconned to be one. So, yep, there's that. So yes, the Masashi first mentioned in the old Marvel comics. That's something you learn every day. And Sith poison. Okay, the Django. Sith poison. You mentioned that you've never seen the Sith poison used ever, right? In Star Wars. Well, it actually says that it appeared in Star Wars Dark Empire 2. Yep, it actually was featured in Star Wars Dark Empire 2. As was one of the adventures in the Wizards of the Coast stories called Light and Dark. So there is some other sources that Sith poison has been used, not just Tales of the Jedi. So, yeah. Now, where exactly was it used in Dark Empire 2? We'll have to take a look, but it says it's there, both in the comic itself and the audio drama. So there's that. And finally, of course, Mark Ragnos. Yes, the Sith Lord that, of course, is dead in Tales of Jedi, but he appeared in the end, and he also appeared, of course, in Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy, when basically Tavion and the Disciples of Ragnos tried to resurrect him, which obviously failed in the end, but, so, yep. Tales of Jedi, Dark Lord of Sith, issue 6, his first ever appearance as a ghost, of course, so here it is. This is his first appearance, and he appears in, besides the next story arc, Tales of the Jedi, Lost Tribe of the Sith, Precipice and Paragon, he's mentioned. Knights of the Old Republic, issue 25 mentioned. Of course, his mummified corpse in KOTOR. He appears in SWOTOR, the Revan book. Knights of the Old Republic 2 is mentioned. SWOTOR, the Cartel Market, it says he actually appears. Okay, it's probably a flashback or something. And he also is mentioned in Fate of the Jedi Abyss, Cross Current, and Reptide, and several source books.
He's also mentioned by Darth Thanaton in the Sith Inquisitor storyline of the SWOTOR game.
There's that too. So, yep. Oh, and Timeline 12, The Great Hyperspace War, he has an indirect mention there as well. And Empire at War, he's mentioned there. And Darth Plagueis, though indirect mention. So, yeah, those are the connections I got, guys. Thoughts on this?
I have a couple more to mention. So one with Exar Kun as well is he is also mentioned in the Clone Wars video game, and in that plot, you have to destroy his secret project. I think it was the Dark Reaper.
It was Dark Reaper.
Oh, speaking of that, because of that video game, in one of the Boba Fett young Boba Fett readers book, that event's also mentioned. The bit where the Jedi tried to hunt down the Dark Reaper or something, as he was specifically the Boba Fett Crossfire.
Yeah, I see. Indeed. Though the Clone Wars, it ties more into a later story arc. We'll get into Tales of the Jedi. So, but yeah, you can definitely count it as a mention, because Exar Kun is mentioned. So there's that.
Also, what I thought was interesting was the space grazers. So if you remember from the space battle that was happening, there was an illusion that Alima summoned with the space grazers, which were these flying creatures that were just seemingly destroying the ships. But I don't know if they were mentioned in the EU. Maybe CJ, you know?
I searched and I basically didn't find anything actually.
Okay.
So they were just mentioned here, and that's about it. So they don't really have any space, the space gracers. They only appear in the Dark Lords of Sith issue 2, and in regards to sources, only the Essential Chronology and the Complete Star Wars Encyclopedia and Star Wars Insider 28. But that's it. They have not that much in terms of references or sources or anything. I don't even think there's even anything in regards to like they're not even in the essential guide to alien species or any of those. So there's not much.
That's a shame because it seems interesting that there's like these different creatures that were like giant creatures that were like this like able to destroy starships and stuff like that. But I guess they were hunted down or they just went extinct and over time. So I think it would have been cool to explore that.
Dawn of the Jedi could have had a chance to explore that, but because that era was well cut short, because the buyout in Lucasfilm, we didn't get the chance. So there is that. Any other references you guys got?
Nah.
Okay. Well, I guess now we go into the conclusion. So, who goes first?
Okay, so this is when things heat up with the Tales of the Jedi series. And the start of the journey for Exar Kun, the introduction of Exar Kun. And things are seemingly twisted within the game. And it only gets worse from this point on with the Jedi and, the inclusion of the Sith. So the revival of the Sith. So Exar Kun is definitely the main baddie and as well as the great character that is introduced. And it sets more with the path of Ulic falling down from being somewhat of a great hero to now just falling low and becoming something worse than what we expected. So,
Is that it?
yeah.
Okay. Who's next?
Oh god.
Okay.
So we finally get to see Exar Kun when we're like, how many arcs were in now?
It was like 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it's about time, and we finally get to see real Sith Lords, not lingering presence spirits. That's also good. So, I'm looking forward to see Exar Kun doing more and see why he is considered one of the greatest Sith Lords and by historians and Sith Lords who exist after him.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. King?
Ultimately, I feel like this is just this part of this Tales of the Jedi is pretty much just the example of arrogance and how it causes the great fall of people who had so much potential and greatness, even if they had good intentions. Ulic, he thought he could infiltrate the Sith from within and destroy it so he could prevent a worse cataclysmic war, but he's ending up becoming part of the problem. Exar Kun thought he could actually study the Sith and their knowledge without being corrupted by it, but he ends up becoming one of their greatest warriors. So it just really much just shows that the fall of arrogance is a common thing in Star Wars and in a lot of good fiction.
Yep. Is that it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. As for me, well, I definitely really enjoyed this story arc. It definitely was one of my favorites in regards to Tales of the Jedi. I definitely enjoy seeing Exar Kun finally, and we finally see him kicking ass. As the one said, it's about time. So I definitely enjoyed also seeing what Ulic Qel-Droma and Nomi Sunrider and the other Jedi that we've seen before have definitely been doing after the Freedom Night Uprising. But I definitely am excited to see what the next story arc entails for not only Ulic Qel-Droma and Nomi Sunrider and the others, but of course Exar Kun, the one true Dark Lord the Sith at this point in time. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. I definitely cannot wait until we tackle the Sith War. That's going to be one hell of a story arc to tackle. And, well, with that, we end this video. And next time, we'll see you guys on the next State of Star Wars video. Bye-bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Farewell, mortals.